Hey guys, so real quick, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's been out for close to a week, so I kind of wanted to go ahead and give a review on the game. I am going to keep it spoiler free, but just kind of give my quick thoughts and opinion on here. I'm going to cover things like the world building, combat, and then stealth. Hang on, just gotta. Okay, so whenever it's starting out, like with the world features, obviously the world is not as big as like England, Greece, or Egypt, but I mean, that's the whole point, and it's great. The world is a lot smaller and feels. I don't want to say small, but it doesn't feel big either. Like you won't spend like 30 minutes just trying to get somewhere just to finish a goddamn fetch quest. Sorry, I still haven't forgiven Assassin's Creed Odyssey for that. But anyway, while the world is smaller and you will feel it, it won't be something you hate because the world feels more compact as well. Like, hey, there's less space for you to work with, but there's more things in that space, which I really like. Some other things, the notoriety system has returned from the older games, and frankly, I enjoy it. It's got three different tiers. Level 1 is where citizens will just notice you and report you to the guards, calling them in and combat, whatever. The second level, archers will begin to appear on the roof more often and get in your way. The third one is a lot like higher rate of NPCs calling the guards on you, and then you have unique enemies that are going to be out and about hunting you. All in all, just kind of feels like an actual notoriety system, even if pretty dumbed down. The ways you disable it are the same as the old ones. You bribe someone or you rip down posters. Pickpocketing is back in the game, which still feels nice in my opinion. It actually serves a purpose as you need it for multiple items, and you can disable the minigame if you don't want to do it. Obviously, as you guys can see from my footage, parkour is a big thing that's returned to the game, and it feels smooth. I remapped the controls so it feels like the older games with the right trigger or R2 being my sprint button, and I have loved it. Shops are back in the game, and I enjoy this because it just makes like more reason for me to interact with the world. I know a lot of people are going to miss the fact that like you could upgrade your stuff in a inventory menu or whatever, but I just like being able to interact with the city more, which is what Baghdad certainly offers you. Talking about the combat now, there's not a whole lot to mention, but I should still give it a mention, kind of talk about it. It's pretty dumbed down because you only have the sword and dagger combo. You can't like fight with your fists outside of the opening sequence. Combat is discouraged by the game, but it's still like if you want to go combat, it's not like you're not going to get anything out of it. As you'll see later on in the footage, finishing animations are pretty good. They make Bassam feel more agile and deadly, but not just like he's big. He's not. He's a lot like more maneuverable. I'm trying to think of the word. Speed overpowers Bassam's game. You can use your gadgets in combat, but I really found the only ones I used to be effective in combat were throwing knives and smoke bombs. Most of the enemies are pretty simple, however, you've got the regular swordsmen who you can basically parry or kill in 1 to 2 hits. The brutes will like make mainly use unblockables, so you need to hit them in the back. This guy I'm fighting right now is actually a decent challenge because of how fast he moves and he switches up the unblockable and blockable attacks. But also, I've noticed only with these guys, but they will actually heal themselves at some point during the fight if given the opportunity. And you'll see, like, a lot of the tougher enemies, you can't just hit them with blow darts or anything in open combat because of their armor. And I think it's a nice touch, but really, once you get a hang of the basic combat, it's not too bad. Smoke bombs are still really effective in open and stealth combat, which is nice to see. But yeah, the animations, they still look fine, and Bassam does feel like he can handle himself, but just he's not a tank anymore, which I love. Talking about the stealth, so this one is going to be a little bit harder to cover just because while I do enjoy the stealth gameplay in this game, it did take a couple steps forward and a couple steps back. So, talking about the steps back, as you'll see, it's the focus. This is the thing that was revealed in the trailers that a lot of people were immediately just like, we don't like this because the game was supposed to be back to roots, and yet, as you can see, you're teleporting. I'll admit, it's a cool gameplay feature, and it helped a couple of times, but it was still just like, did I really need this? Really, other than that, the only other negative is that the AI is still really dumb. There was one section where it was like I had to sneak into this one place to assassinate a guy and steal some intel, and I killed the same, like a group of 4 guys doing their own thing. They weren't like right next to each other, but still, like I was in plain view of 2 of them. I assassinated 4 people in the same hay bale. They're pretty dumb. Going on to the positives, they added a couple of new enemies and mechanics. As you just saw, the marksman. So if you're trying to scout out a location with your eagle and there's a marksman, you have to eliminate him before you can. I mean, obviously, you don't need the eagle to find your objectives. You still have eagle vision, but it's a nice touch that they made that a little more difficult. Your tool access, the main ones I used are blow dart, throwing knives, and smoke bombs. Throwing knives, again, act like a bow and arrow in this game, so they're really effective. You're going to want to make sure you have a good amount of them. Blow darts I didn't find myself using a lot until I just tried it on a mission and then realized, oh, I actually like these. Smoke bombs I used kind of from the get-go as either a way to sneak in or, just pop one down to save myself and then assassinate. But what's really cool is the different upgraded tiers you can get. For the throwing knife, one of the best ones I've gotten is I can charge it up. For the blow dart, I can either get a poisonous or berserk darts or cloud darts, so it affects multiple people. Sorry. Smoke bombs, healing, or fire vapors, which will only hurt the enemies. You have the noisemakers and traps as well, but I really never found myself using those just because I didn't see any reason to. The AI just wasn't challenged me enough to where I thought I needed them in my life. Other than that, there's not too much. Alright, so real quick, just kind of talking about the story. I am going to be non-spoiler because I'm not an asshole like some people. Sorry. Whenever Gotham Knights first came out, I pre-ordered the game and I got spoiled on day 1, so I'm still salty about that. And yes, I am a fan of Gotham Knights, but that's not what we're talking about here today. So a lot of the story is investigation based. Like, you don't just go in there, start a war or whatever. Like, you have to go and actually collect your intel on the people you're finding and how to take them down. So it's a lot more like slower, kind of feels like the older games where you actually had to learn things about your enemy instead of just going in there, throwing an axe or whatever. And I really enjoyed that. Anyway, going on to my final verdict, Mirage has some good and bad features, but I think it's got enough to start on the right track of going back to the roots, provides enough to keep old fans interested, and still feels enough like the RPG games to keep them interested as well. I found myself enjoying the stealth and the combat animations. There's a lot more to be expected upon, just maybe add a little bit more to the stealth, maybe make the AI better in future patches and all this stuff. But the world itself, like I said, there's the main city of Baghdad and a small area outside it, which is really nice. There is kind of semi-spoilers. There's no, like, Isu god that I've encountered yet. There's, like, an Isu armor and stuff, but it's, like, at the same level that, like, Assassin's Creed 4 was or something. Like, it was just an armor set. But really, other than that, there's not too much to talk about. I don't give this a 10 out of 10. It's not my favorite game, but it is a good step in the right direction for players who like the older style of games. So do I recommend it? Yes, I do. Alright, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and see you next time.